Yo, what up guys? It's Brenn. I'm here to bring you a redstone basics tutorial. So, here we are on my little test world and whatnot, and I plopped down a redstone ore node, whatever you want to call it. This is what they look like, at least in the Doku. It takes a while to get through with the pickaxe, and it will usually drop 4 redstone. So, redstone will be powered for 15 squares, 15 blocks, until it becomes unpowered. But it will power the 16th block unless it's a redstone wire. So I'll throw down this repeater and you'll see that it's powered. But this one right here won't be powered because the redstone wire can't carry the power any farther, but it will still power the square in front of it somehow. I don't know. So here's a little thing that I made that shows every possible place to put the output, whatever output item you want, including the outsides of it will be powered too for the same rule. So that's just a little diagram that I made there. So the main thing of redstone is the redstone torch, and that's what it looks like, as you saw over there too. And it's made the same way with the as a normal torch, except it's one stick and one redstone, and that's all it is. So they're not that hard to make. Redstone torches will will not power blocks below them, but they will power blocks above them. Destroy that just so you don't think that it's going up. They'll power blocks in any direction around them, but it will not power a redstone wire that is on a block above it next to it, as this. A redstone torch placed on the side of a block will not power the block that it's on, but it will power the blocks around, and it will power the block below. And if you put a block above it, it cuts the circuit and it freaks out. And it'll turn back on, and it'll freak out again for a couple times, and then see that second time it just kind of broke. So that's a way to, if you need to turn the torch off to do it, you just have to kind of break it, and then if you repower it, see, it'll turn on, and then it turns back on. I don't know what the use of that is for. One of the main things you have to understand about redstone is that it's basically an electric circuit. You have your input, you've got your wire, and then you got your output. So here's the wall jack that your computer is plugged into, the redstone torch. Here's the cord, and this is your computer. It's a pretty simple concept, but it gets a little more complicated later on. So here's all the outputs that there are in that I know of. There's there's iron doors, trap doors, there's wooden doors, there's powered rails, and I don't know if you can consider this being powered, but it alters the state of this. You'll see how it goes to the left, and it has the option to go to the right. Well, unless you have this powered, as soon as I plop down the torch down there, it switched directions, and then if I take it out, I'll switch back. It will power both kinds of pistons. It will power, you heard the click, there's just nothing in it. It will power TNT, I'm not going to power that though. Redstone torches will not power. Won't power note blocks. Neither will levers. You actually have to put the wire directly into the note block for it to work. I don't know why, but that's just how it works. So those are the main outputs of redstone. So here's the main inputs. Obviously there's the redstone torch, which is a always on unless you invert it. I'll get to that later. So it's always on, and so it's just a constant stream of power. And then you got buttons, which will turn on for a second and then turn off. That's Yeah, that's about a second and a half or so. You've got a lever, which it's basically a light switch. It's on, off, and that's up to you. And then you got the semi-new detector rails, which will be on as long as there's a minecart on top of them. You've got stone pressure plates, which will only be turned on by a player or I believe an NPC. I don't know. And then you've got wooden plates, which will be turned on by a player and any item thrown on top of it. So that's kind of nifty if you were like to build a painting over it and then have, yeah. So one of the main rules, or one of the main problems with redstone is how you can break it, and this is the one that I come across the most. So I'm trying to point this out and make it a big deal. Let's say you've got something powered up here. Okay, so you've kind of got something floating up here that you have powered, and you're trying to cover everything up, and you're like, this is like the flat surface that I'm standing on, except elevated, and you're wanting to cover up as much of the redstone as possible, and so you're like, okay, I'll just place this here, but that breaks the line. This is no longer powered, so you kind of have to work around that if you don't want anything to show, and it can make your buildings, if you're making like a train station, really bulky unless you really work hard to find a way around it. So that's kind of a big deal when you're trying to make things look really nice. So just always watch that. If you're placing a block to, cover something up, and it's right above the block, right next to this up redstone wire, uh, yeah, see, it cuts off the circuit and everything, and that's just no bueno. So here's another main thing about redstone is, so I've made this archway and whatnot, and I'm wanting it to where the piston is powered all the time unless I push this button. So this is like the entranceway to my home. Obviously you'd usually have two pistons here, but I don't want to deal with that. So I'm there's the dilemma is that it's not here where it should be. It's not, because when I step on the pressure plate, it's where it should be, when really it should be retracting. So you have to add an inverter into your setup, and they're not hard. This is all it is. It's just a block and then a redstone torch on the side of the block facing your output. So your input's right here, and as soon as I power this should get unpowered, and it will stay unpowered and whatnot because this torch is always on. And voila, see, that's all the inverter is. So you have here's our input, which is the pressure plate that's going into this side, and then you have the redstone torch facing your output, which will always power it unless you got this, and as soon as I step on it, unpowered. And that's the fix to that. It's pretty simple. So that's just the super basics of redstone. I'll go into more specifics on mainly like train stations and pistons, because TNT, that's not. Oh geez, oh, that scared the shit. I forgot they changed it. Obviously TNT, all you do is blow shit up. Dispensers, if you throw something in the back of it, it's just gonna shoot whatever out. But pistons and train tracks have a lot to them compared to the rest of the outputs, with the exception of note blocks. But note blocks are just super fucking time consuming. They're actually not that hard. So, yeah, ta-ta for now, guys.